Hello and welcome back to Tuesday's vlog. That weekend has just flown over, but I suppose when I've been busy, which I have been, time flies, doesn't it? It doesn't feel like 2 seconds since I was just here on Friday finishing off this Astra. But like I mentioned, I hope you enjoyed it. Let us know, please leave a comment. Did you enjoy my video on the caravan? I have videoed a bit more over the weekend while it's been on the drive and I've been doing the valeting. It was only what I could manage. I was there obviously on a live street with my partner. My daughter was thereabouts and my son was kicking about. He's actually done some filming. I mean, he's only 5, so you'll have to excuse it. But let us know if you want to see that. It was just a basic video of valeting the caravan, cleaning it, getting it put on the drive properly, and I've got a few more things I've got to do. I've just had the spare wheel to stake 4 tyres because the valve had cracked on it. What else have I done? I've snapped the spare wheel like tie thing, so I've had to order a new one of them. I'm going to flush the water system out and check around the roof on some little bits of silicone on it, that nothing's come loose over the winter with some step ladders. Oh yes, Mercedes, like I've mentioned, the track rod end. I'm not sure if I've got that on one of my videos. The track rod end, specially ordered TRW one. It came in a box. Is a flipping Moog or something like that, a cheap one. Not too happy, and there's only one left in company stock, so I hope somebody doesn't end up ordering that before I get to it. So not happy about that, because the other ones, like I mentioned, I got it for like a tenner, and the other ones are like pushing 40-50 quid, so I'm gonna have to spend 40-50 quid if I can't get the one remaining TRW, if it is a one, because it's come in the wrong box, the second remaining one. So a bit peed off at that, because I've got it booked in this coming Monday for the 4-wheel alignment to be done. So excuse me, on to today's work. Gonna do this a bit differently today. Let us know if you like it, but I don't know how much in depth I can go with it. So, keeping it short and sweet, this was checked over before, this is in for MOT, this was checked over already before I got into work this morning. I'm just looking at them lights on the front there, they're flickering. Is that just me? But are they flickering? But they're not on. Oh, they actually are on. There we go, I'll tell you what, I'm pleased the camera picked that up, because from where I'm standing with my eye, with human eyes, not a camera, I physically cannot see that flashing. When I'm looking above this phone at that light, I cannot see that. So yeah, I think what's happened here is I've got the key in my pocket and all the lights have been left on, one of the two. I've actually got the key in my pocket for this car somewhere. Let's have a look. That's a Ford key. I've got 1,000,001 keys in my pockets here. Let's try and get it. Right. Ah, that's all it's been. Light in the wrong position. So there we go. Please, I did that now. So, this is just in for straightforward MOT. I've actually done a review on this car right at the beginning when I first started my channel. So, it's just I think it's a 116 diesel, I think, off the top of my head. Like I've said, it's a bit of a bottom of the range BMW. I've stated my points on this. I think this is my opinion. If you don't agree with it, that's totally fair enough, but everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And my opinion is, if you're going to buy a premium brand like Mercedes, BMW, whatever, I think it's always nice to go for the top of the range car, if you get what I mean. I mean, like, this hasn't even got cruise control. I mean, all it's got is a limiter. So they've gone very specially to the inconvenience of having a limiter, which is exactly the same as cruise control. It would require nothing more than a button here. That's it. You've got your up, your down for your cruise control, exactly the same as a limiter works, but they've just thought, no, we'll give you 99.9% of cruise control, but actually take away the full use of it. That, to me, is a disgrace if you're buying a premium brand. So, anyways, that may just be cruise control. A lot of you probably don't even use it. So, yeah, this has got some kind of the usual... I believe they are actually real dials behind there, because you can still see them. And they just light up. And they pretend to be some kind of digital dash, but it actually really isn't. It's got all that stuff on there and all that. Turn them off. So, yeah, this is just straightforward MOT. I haven't actually spoken to my dad about this one yet, and I'm just looking at it there. It is a diesel, because there you can tell that is your diesel plate there, 0.50. That means it's got a DPF on it. So yes, This is MOT. I don't believe it needs anything, otherwise it would be on the lift, so it doesn't require any work to be done. Astra, we'll quickly walk over to this. As you've seen this on the last video, it's had all the front brakes, wishbone arms, rear springs and rear pads, and we've had it out for a test drive. All's okay. There's the new brakes, and I'll just get down if the grass isn't too wet to show you. They are the new springs. Probably can't see that one because of the exhaust. So that's this one, ready to go sometime this afternoon. This one, now I'm going to do something different. There's another car in on the lift getting work done. This is another one, MOT. But this car has been stood for quite a while. Not for good reasons, actually. Let's just put the camera... just to let you all know, I've not been having a very good few weeks lately. Last week alone, there's been quite a few people, close friends of mine actually, various different ages, have passed away. I mean, one of them was, you know, the old guy who I point to in the garage, Joe. His sister's partner, Jimmy. He was a very, very good friend of mine through Joe, obviously. Crikey, since I was just a little one, I remember him in my life. But then again, he was in his 80s. He lived a very good life. I can sort of like stomach that one. So that's that. And unfortunately, another close family, like within my family's, well, my partner's family kind of thing, somebody's unfortunately passed away through reasons I'm not going to discuss. And then there was also a young lass I went to school with, which was like quite a lot younger than me, had passed away last week. And I thought to myself, well, you know, that's got to be something else. Then some other lad within Guidepost where I live had also passed away. I mean, I wasn't best friends or nothing with them, but I knew of them, used to regularly speak to them and stuff. So it's just been quite difficult these last few weeks. So I apologise to be quite honest, if you notice, I'm doing more videos and stuff, and it just keeps my mind off us. And, you know, like, not to mention anybody on other channels, but we all know, like, Hubnut, and unfortunately he's just lost his sister. And I've been reading a few of his comments about not handling the emotional side of it very well, and when people, obviously he's a huge YouTuber compared to what I am, and he's not quite sure how to control his emotions and stuff, like when you're out and people are coming up showing sympathy towards you. And all I can say to him, and what I'm doing, is just keep busy and keep car related, and if anybody mentions anything on the personal side of things, then you've just got to kind of like just say yes, okay, and then just move on and keep totally focused on the cars. Hence, I'm pleased at the minute I've got the Jeep, which is a relatively new fleet car on the fleet. I've got my Mercedes, which is needing work done, and I'm going away soon, and I'm just getting the caravan home as well. Plus, I'm just generally busy at work, so happy days. But yeah, but don't worry, like, you know, I'm okay, but it's just as last week was quite a bad week. It was like literally, that's like 4 people. It was like within the space of like, not this Friday gone, but the Friday before, Jimmy passed away. And I'm not mentioning other names for the other ones. Literally, it was like sort of like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, like that. I was just thinking, Christ, like anything else, you know? It's like, so anyways, back to about this car. This was a family relative. Again, I say a family, they're like distant family, but they're like family to me. The last time this car was on the road was actually the guy used it before he passed away, and he wasn't a very old guy. He was only sort of maybe 7 or 8 years older than me, and this car's been sitting ever since. So that's the reason why. Sorry to be doom and gloom, but I think it's good for me on my channel to be open and honest with people rather than lie about stuff. So yeah, so the reason why this car's it's stood for over a year now, because obviously it's never been used since the guy passed away. Something that I'm still more than a year down the line, just kind of still getting me head around. So yeah, anyways, this has been stood for a year or more, and it needs MOT'd because people in the family decided to put it back on the road, and they need to start using it quite urgently. So I'm going to go around and do on this one something different I haven't done before, and it's do like a pre-MOT while recording. But as you can see, the brakes are a bit rusted up, which they should clean up for an MOT. They don't look like they've got any kind of bad lip on them. I need to check the tyres haven't cracked and perished with being flat, and just generally any other work on it that's going to need done for an MOT. So that's what I'm going to do with this one. I'm going to stick it up on a lift, and do a bit of it, if best as I can, a walk around pre-MOT on it whilst recording it, and obviously filming anything as I find it, when I find it, on camera. There's one of our car in the garage now. I'm going to go in and show you that one, and you'll see what I mean by it. Pain in the arse, this. I'm just going to knock the video off now, go in and see how my dad's doing. I've been out doing this for 10 minutes now, and he might think I'm taking the piss. So I'm just going to pause it now, and then I'll come back to you, and I'll do a quick record of film of the car that's in and what's being done on that. Then we'll get the Fiesta up on the lift and do a pre-MOT on it. Right, this is the other car I've got in, Astra. This is in for MOT as well. I know there's just so many MOTs at the minute, so I thank the government for that, because the COVID extensions caused us nothing but bother in trying to fit people in and keep everybody happy. So this is in for MOT. It's had to have honestly, we were that busy last week, we had to send her somewhere else to get the exhaust done. As you can see, it's got a new exhaust. We just simply couldn't fit it in. And also it had a problem with the back brakes. Luckily we've saved the customer some money, because it's the handbrake cable, but so I had a caliper already ordered in and some pads, but these people have spent enough money on this car now. Well, I'll show you what I mean by it. We've done the cable, I'll get to that in a second, but the discs are still serviceable. The pads have still got plenty of meat on them. They're getting a little bit low, like this one, but that's still perfectly more than enough on there for now. As you've seen, they've spent a lot of money. It'll just be something, it's not even anywhere near an MOT advisory, that, so it won't even be advised on the MOT, but just a handwritten note, maybe 6 months, just to recheck these. And they're lovely, one of the very, very few calipers, which are absolutely brilliant for being able to see the pads. And as you can see, the discs are perfectly fine. So we're happy because we quoted them before looking at it, the worst case scenario of needing a caliper, pads and the handbrake cable. So they'll be delighted to know it's not. But here were us this morning looking at this thinking, yeah, great, champion, saved a bit of time, doesn't need the caliper done, doesn't need the calipers off and pads done. Just the handbrake cable, because it had seized. I'll show you down here. But manufacturers love to make things as difficult as possible. It means this isn't the worst, but it's not one of the best. As you can see, that's all cracked, water's getting in, and it's just completely seized, which was the reports from the customer of the handbrake not working. There's like a ratchet system in these, and it's just completely seized. But unfortunately, we'll come to fit it, and the new trick that they do now is normally handbrake cables will come to about here under the exhaust and meet up. And you would just be a case of threading them around here, and as you've probably done in the past, if you ever have. But no, the new way now is to put them in through the body, there and there. So therefore, you've got to go ripping back seats out of them, ripping the carpet, well, not ripping, but pulling back seats out of them for, in my opinion, no good reason. I'll show you that when it comes back down shortly. Anyways, what's going on inside. So you've got there's not really much adjustment you need to do with calipers. A lot of people think you need to go like old-fashioned drums. You don't. All you need to do is once you've got them connected up in the car, you tighten it up within the car until the lever starts to just move ever so slightly off the stop, and you can see the stoppers on these are there, just this bit at the top where it touches, and you don't want that. You'll see it when you're winding it in the car, it'll start moving away from it, but then you screw it back so that it's just touching to the point where it's about to lift off, and that's your perfect adjustment. You don't go winding these things up like brake drums. Totally different setup, otherwise you'll end off causing all sorts of problems with your handbrake. So yeah, that's that. So we'll get the Fiesta in now, and when I'm in checking the Fiesta, this car will be down and we'll have a little look. I'll show you what's going on inside of this. So I'll just pause it now and we'll bring the Fiesta in. Right, I'll just show you in this one just before we move on to the Fiesta. So yeah, you've got to take all the back seat out because the cable's about here where it comes in. So you've got to get your hand down behind all of this insulation and carpet and struggle on, and it's threads underneath behind the carpet and under here to there where the new cable attaches. Just you tell me, is that not just being deliberately made to be awkward? It's just the way things are with all cars. So anyways, that's the Astra. I mentioned that's all it requires. So the Fiesta now, onto this. So part of the pre-checks for an MOT, this is what you would do. Even before you start an MOT, you just go and do a walk around check of the car. So first up, you check the fuel cap. These don't have them, believe it or not, but if they did have one, you would take it off, check it's got a seal on, put it on, check it secures okay. and you'll go around and just do a visual check before you even log the car on, which is like a pre-check to whether or not you're going to abandon the test or not, as in, like, you know, like if there's anything that looks seriously dangerous straight off the map, like, you know, like a huge cut in a tyre, flat tyre, pouring oil all over the floor, the driver's mirror completely missing, you know, just the obvious things, just all of that. So, you know, I'm not going to go through it in full detail, but, you know, obvious stuff, like, you know, like flipping seatbelts cut through, missing lights all over the dashboard, all that kind of stuff. I mean, to be honest, official MOT doesn't state with lights on dashboard, but like this one actually has. If you look on here, it's got an airbag warning light on. So naturally, I wouldn't even waste my time logging a car on and everything to waste a whole, you know, hour to have to bring it back and retest it. But if you're running a test site in and out, you just take the car as presented, and naturally that would be down as a fail. So that's my first thing on the list I've seen. Actually, we need to get the scanner on, but I've got a feeling with it standing and having flat batteries and jump started, I'm hoping it's just a voltage related fault. Put the scanner on, wipe the codes, and that'll be end of story for that. I heard an alarm and banging noise when I was reversing back. I do know these suffer from rear axle bushes, but all of this in here is certainly not going to have been helping matters. So, but the axle bushes on these aren't uncommon, so that could be a factor in this. So we'll do a basic walk around. The back wiper isn't part of the test, but out of courtesy, I do just check it. It's rock solid, but it's fine. So for now, that's not an issue. We're going to do the lights in a second. The tyres, from this angle before it's on the lift, they actually look okay, which is great. Door mirror secure, glass intact. Remember what I told you the last time? If you've got a back window rear view mirror, this mirror doesn't actually become part of the test as long as the interior mirror's got a view. I've done that in a separate video. Again, check the doors, that they're open. 3-door car, let's jump in the back. We'll check the seat belts. See, straight away there, Vosa walked in. There's a prime example. If you had a walk-in test of Vosa and you were logged this car off the test, and they come in, they said, have you checked the seat belts? And you'll go, well, yeah. The official way is not leaving them plugged in, believe it or not. I do, is a way of actually showing to the customer that it's been checked, but you should have weight on them and actually disconnect them while you've got weight on and check that they disconnect when that's weight. Because if you roll a car and you're hanging upside down, it's very important that these buckles can release when there's weight on them, so i.e. you can get out of the car. And obviously you just check for any frays, any splits in the belts, which there isn't. But this one here, seen how it's stuck behind the seat? Now if those are walked in here, unless you've got no reason to pull seats down in the test, so straight away there, because that would be a fail, because this seat belt relies on this seat back as its its support. So straight up there, that's why you always make sure you do your pre-checks, and it just shows you that they've been done. I'm going to leave these plugged in, just looks better. I'm going to take that off the seat because it's just another thing just in the way. Just when those are coming, they'll say, have you checked that seatbelt properly? There, again, that one's stuck behind. All this, even down to saving yourself time. I'll tell you one thing though, if you own a car and you want to give the MOT tester a good example of your car, if you take a car in like this with seatbelts jammed behind seats, you're just paying them off. And if you pay an MOT tester off, it isn't a good thing. So just make sure all your seatbelts are accessible. Don't have shit lying all around on the seats and in the boot. Just make it. The amount of cars we get coming in with God knows what on the back seats and covers, and it just all impedes your time of getting the car fully checked. So there we go. That's as much as you really need to check in the back on a 3-door car. Naturally, on a 3-door car, you need to check the seats are secure, because they slide around. Even on 5 doors you do, but it's especially important on these. We'll put that to one side. Passenger seat belt, again, these are renowned for getting caught in doors, slammed in doors. Check the condition of the buckles, pull it all the way out. Obviously I'm doing a video here, I can't physically wind it all out. Plug it in, check it unplugs, happy days. I'll leave that one off just to get into the back. And again, around the sills, check for any corrosion. I know it looks absolutely daft, but you've got to do the motions. And remember that Polo we just seen on Friday's vlog with all the sill rotting out on here? Well, it wasn't rotten fully, but this is why you need to do is because you need to check the inner sills. And the only way you can check the inner sills is by squeezing that. I know you're just bending the plastic, but it looks good. It's what actually those I would like to see you doing, or DVSA. Check around all the door shuts and check the door shuts correctly and secures, which it does. So we move around to the front. Any sharp edges you're looking for, like bumpers hanging off, stuff like that, cracks. Moving on, obviously, number plate, checking the number plate's legible, correct, that you've got it's meant to have the plate maker's postcode, and it's going to have the BSAU 14145D marker on it. As long as it's got that, happy days, it's not deteriorated or damaged. There is a trim piece missing here, which you've just seen in the footwell. I'm going to pop that on for the test. Again, it does look better. This hasn't got nothing to do with the test, it just looks untidy and not good. Again, looking around here, driver's door mirror, that's your obligatory mirror. If that's missing or cracked or damaged, it's a fail, so that's all good. Open the door again, check that it opens. On a 3-door car, as well as all kind of 5-door cars, you've got to check that the passenger's door opens from the inside, which it does. That one does, because we're just getting in. It opens from the inside. Like I said, on the dash, we know we've got a warning light for the airbag. Check all the other lights come on. They've got to be present, so you can see the engine light at the bottom there, the airbag, ABS, all of that stuff comes on. Start it up, and it all goes off. Apart from the airbag light. Actually, well, I'll be damned. Oh no, it's back on there. Airbag light. We need to see what's going on with that. Into the interior, just in general, handbrake security. Give it a wiggle while it's on. Hit it, because that's part. You need to check the ratchet system, obviously with the foot brake on. Check that it engages. Steering wheel. Check for play up and down, side to side. As well as part of the test, believe it or not, take the key out and check the steering lock works, which it does. And then you just do the basic stuff. Once you're in, wipers. Naturally, this hasn't been used for a long time. Screen wash isn't really working, so that would be a fail. Hopefully, I'm hoping it's just empty, not actually, it sounds empty. So the wipers as well, I need to inspect the condition of those once we get some water in. These bloody things hanging off mirrors, it's not a fail. That's the pain in the arse. If I can possibly take them off, I'll just take them off. Just pain in the arse in the way. So there you go, that's that. What we need to be doing is checking the windscreen for any major marks in this area, the driver's view of the road, which is basically the width of the steering wheel in front. But you can't take, if the driver, say, in this car is 7 foot and you're 5 foot, naturally he's going to be looking up here and you're going to be looking here. The position of driving, you do not take into consideration the driver. So if there's a mark up here and it's not impeding your view, which is here, for example, it's a pass and advise. You can't say, oh, well, the driver is 6-7 foot and there's a mark up here and I'm going to feel that you can't. You do it on what your view of the road is, which is here. Obviously, like they say with the wipers, you've got to make sure they park. If they just stop in the middle of the screen, it's a fail. Obviously, you've got to check the screen wash works. Back wiper isn't part of the test, but it doesn't harm you to change it. Again, hazard warning lights, put them on. They've got to work with the key out. And again, this is the point you test the servo. You pump the brake, and it should go hard. Keep your foot on it. This is a good time while you've got the engine off. Start it up, then your foot should just drop when you can feel the vacuum-operated servo kicking in. The only thing I was going to say here is check the condition of the rubber on the pedals. Now that brake one there would be a bit of a kind of, I'm going to have a look at that, maybe see how much they are and replace it. It's perfectly fine for the test, but I'm not keen on that piece of metal showing on it. Not good. So that's that. Now we're going to go around and do a basic light check. So obviously I've got an assistant, and he just check them brake lights for us. Yeah, so they're working. I'll get on and do the rest on my own. Put them all on and we'll go around and have a look. Naturally, the brake lights, as mentioned, you've got your high level one. Bit of a daft rule with these. If that doesn't work, if you go in and disconnect it and leave the wire disconnected, it's a pass. Yet if it doesn't work and it's connected, it's a fail. Or if there's 50% of the light not shown on it, it's a fail. So just stupid really, but that's how the rules are. So we're checking everything here. Again, presence and condition. Side lights on, indicator. slightly flashing a bit white, but by my eyes I can see the bulb slightly cracked, but I think that's okay for the test, to be quite honest, because these are a nightmare to get the backlights out. But I'm looking, you can just see some of the white cracks in it. It really does show up a lot more orange on camera than what it is. So that's fine. Reversing lights, obviously it's running. I'll need to stop it to check those. Fog lights on. Number plate lights again. Remember, if you've got two, you only need one to work. But again, for police at night time, if you get both working, just have them working. Side light working, indicator working. I've checked the brakes. Go around, checking the ones in the mirrors here. Indicators are working. Quite bright at the front here. We've got a headlight out, so straight away that's an issue now. So there we go, front fog light working, indicator working, side light working, dip beam not working. That needs sorted. Again, that's actually getting too white for my likings. That's really bad. It really does show orange on the camera, this, but I swear that's almost flashing white. So that needs looked at. Side light, dip beam working, and front fog light. And we'll just stick the main beam on. That's working, there you go, that one and that one. So a couple of lights to look at, not the end of the world. Screen wash to top up, wipers to check once I've actually got some fluid in. But there you go, we'll get it up on the lift and I'll show you what else I find. I wanted to just show you this one. Anyways, I forgot to mention, obviously, check the security of the bonnet, check that the catches all work. Believe it or not, the secondary catch isn't even part of the test, which I really think is a poor part of the test. I think that definitely should be. As long as all this is secure, no rust around this area, and that the bonnet, when it's closed, it obviously stays closed. So, under the bonnet, now straight up, my eyes got drew to this. Wiring, you're meant to check for wiring, and any exposed loose wiring is a fail. That, to me, even though it's on the negative side, is dangerous. So I'm just going to take this off. It just doesn't look good. It doesn't serve a purpose because there's not one on the positive one. So straight up, I looked at it, and main part of the test, battery insecure. That's a failure for an MOT, but if a copper stops you, it's 3 points on your licence. So don't ever have the battery flopping about like that. Then I just looked to the side. Yeah, this car's been driven down here, and yet the two little nuts and the bracket is just nicely sitting there. How they have not slid off, I do not know. So happy days, that saved me a headache. I just need to simply put it on. Let's just check if there's a catch to this, which there generally is. Will it fit? Is the battery the wrong battery? Nope, it'll fit because that goes in like that. See what I mean with this wiring? Just not good. And it should, I hope, with a bit of persuasion, I will make this fit. So there we go. That's done. Just wanted to show you that one. And I'm looking here to change this bulb. Well, right up against the fuse box, but I'm sure these Fiestas, you just take these two off. And I think the headlights on these just slide out. So we'll come to that when I get round to doing it. And for that indicator, yeah, probably the same. I'll have to take this light out to change that one. Because if you look in there now, it's not flashing. I don't know if the camera picks that up, but can you see that the orange bulb is just all the orange paint has come off it, more or less. It's just basically a white bulb, so might as well do that. So yeah, when you're under here, you just got to check all the obvious things. The ABS system, all the brake pipes, nothing's leaking. You've got to check the antifreeze levels. Generally, I just do anyway, so they're not below the minimum or leaking. This cap's actually loose. Check the brake fluid. The best way I find to check with that is to shine a light through the other direction. As long as it's not below the minimum. If it is below the minimum, it's a fail. Power steering on these, I think, have moved to magnetic, so there isn't a reservoir. But if there's a power steering reservoir, that's part of the test. As long as it's not below the minimum. Pass and advise. Same with the brake fluid. It's got to look like a nice clear colour. But he has a tip. He has a stupid part of the rule. Is even if the fluid is at the max or below, above the minimum, but it looks dirty, you've got to fail it. But what you're not allowed to do is take the cap off to inspect it. So it's just pathetic, really, the rules on the testing. So yeah, just check around everything, that there's no exposed wiring or nothing disconnected or nothing rubbing which could cause a fire. And that's pretty much what you do. Check the strut tops for corrosion and just check around the body and the structure of the vehicle as best as you can. So I'm going to get on, sort these lights, get the scanner on, and I'll come back to you. Just as I went to start work as well, I've just noticed probably the reason why the airbag light is on. The battery terminal is just completely loose, and this is driven in. If that had just come off, the car would have just stopped dead in the water. So again, really why you need to check presence, security of all the items as part of the test. Never mind the test, just general use of a vehicle on a public road. There we go, 30 seconds work. Cables tight, that wire removed, battery clamp on it. Yes, I know that tab should be through there because the battery's not the right one. The only way you can get it to fit is like this, and it's perfectly secure, as you can see. So that's that done. Now we need to get the headlight removed, like I mentioned before. There's this little cover down here. That's the other cable off the battery. This off the front, just to make it more presentable for the test. We'll just pop this back into place. I don't know why it's been towed for whatever reason. Seems to be running okay. I don't know. So how does this go in? Let's have a look. Just pops in. I haven't took this off, so I'm not really sure how it goes on, to be quite honest. There we go. Just looks better, doesn't it? Having a big hole in the front bumper. So there we go, that's that done. So now I'm gonna before I top the screen wash up, I'm gonna get this light out. It's just 2 screws, I think, on these, and then we'll see about getting the bulb changed. Right, I've discovered what those little wires were for. Down here, it's got a black box like a tracker on it, which is disconnected. You can see that's actually one of the terminals, what we're meant for it. It's obviously been flattening the battery or something. So the light's out, them 2 screws. Bit of a, I'm sure these just used to pull out nicely, unless I'm missing something. But we've got the old bulb out, which was knackered. Remember, never touch the bulbs with dirty hands. This is nice and clean. Goes in, you just turn it in 90 degrees, and it goes into the aperture. Cover back over, 2 screws back on, and we'll see if it works. Right, now that's the screen wash topped up. Luckily it was empty. We'll have to check once we get it in the garage if it's pouring out, which I don't think it is. Where was I? Yep, headlight bulb's done, headlamps back into place. So what we'll do is we'll just put the bonnet down, just temporarily, and we'll see if our bulb's working. We might have the airbag light off because the battery is connected properly now. I doubt it. It'll need probably reset with the scanner. Let's have a look. It'll probably come back on. Yeah, but that'll be because of that. But I'm 90% sure. Put the scanner on and that light will be off. But let's have a look. Does the screen wash work? Yeah. Does the screen being cleaned effectively? That's all it states. Yeah, I would say them wipers are actually okay. There's one little mark, but I think that's just probably a bit of, which it is, a bit of grit just on the screen. So happy days. The wipers are fine. Screen wash is working now, so we'll see if that bulb's working. Hopefully it is. Yep, obviously the bulb's all black anyway, so there we go. Now I'm going to get onto this indicator later because I want to get up on the lift and get it checked, because that is probably a passing advice. I'll have a better look at it when it's in the dark. It's hard to tell when you're out in the daylight, but that for the minute is just a minor item. We're getting the major stuff sorted, like bulbs that aren't working, insecure batteries and whatnot. So we'll get it up on the lift now and we'll just see what we're dealing with underneath. Right, before we put it on the lift, I'm just going to find out what's going on with this airbag, because if there's serious problems with the airbag, then there's no point in really going much further. So I don't know if you just want to view this kind of thing, but I'll show you what's involved doing it. You know, you say you want to see more, I'll show you a bit more. Just shows you what I'm on about with these Fiestas. They're cracking little cars, especially, like I say, with the 1.25, 1.4 and the 1.6 Z-Tech engines in them, which it will show you on the chassis plate, just there. They call it the Duratec 1.25, and obviously they do the 1.4 and the 1.6. Just shows you, every car just about, especially common cars like this, I know straight off the top of my head where the diagnostic plug is. These simply hardly have ever any problems. I can't remember the last Fiesta that I've even had to plug into the system, apart from the ones with the EcoBoost and the diesel engines in. So if you need them, they're just under there, in the little side compartment. We need to switch the ignition on, have the scanner on, it's doing an update, so if it suddenly does an update, I'll apologise in advance. So, go into diagnostics. While it does its full scan, we don't need to sit and watch through all of that. So Ford, normally they'll bring up the chassis number on these. Apologise about the reflection, can't really do much about that. I suppose I'll put it on the seat down here. It's just busy loading. It's taking a bit longer than normal, but like I've mentioned, in the background it's doing some updates. Right, we're back in business. The machine decided just to do one of the biggest updates it's ever done. So, into Ford, automatic selection, read the VIN number, which it's doing. There we go, okay. Hopefully with that it should bring up everything that it requires. Sometimes it takes a bit of time to pull the VIN from the car, but it will get there eventually. There we go, see, Java Tech 1.25, manual, etc, etc. Yes. All we're going to do, since the car stood for ages, we're going to do a full module control scan on the car, which I'll set it away and I'll come back to you when it's done it. So there we go, auto scan, that's what we want. There we go, it's setting itself away now. Going through them all there, see, power control module, ABS, 3 faults, all these, we'll go through a couple. I can guarantee they'll be low voltage, and I'm just hoping it's a simple case of resetting them. So once it's gone through all these, because it can take a little while, I'll come back to you. So that's a code scan done. As you can see, there's a fault on just about every module. But what we will do is, we'll go on to the airbag one, because that's the one that's been causing with the problems with the light. And we'll just see when I find it. Restraint control module, that's what they call it on a Ford. Hope I've pressed the right one there. And if it brings up a code, hope I'm in the right section here. Switch ignition on. The vehicle's been sat for quite a while with the ignition on. Let's have a look. I'm sure I accidentally pressed the wrong button there, but we'll see what comes up. So there we go, I've got the codes up. I've just done a little bit of digging. Obviously that's not battery voltage related, so like I mentioned, the guy who had this car, he dealt with a lot, he worked in a scrapyard for a lot of years, so he knew his stuff with things, and he'll probably get a new seat for this car from the scrapyard. The only thing is, I've gone down here and I noticed straight away just this exposed plug unit. I thought that's strange, because this just comes from the seat, and this, move that light, and this is the plug from the car's wiring harness, but that was tucked in to, there's like a little bit just under there. I don't know if you can see, I can't get my hand in, but there's a little like box section, this area, it was tucked in there, completely hidden from view. Didn't even know it existed. So I opened the little flap, as you can see, pulled the wiring out, and sure enough, it'll fit onto that perfectly. So we'll plug it in. I'm very doubtful. If something's left uncoupled, it's left uncoupled for a reason. So we'll plug it in. Fits in perfectly. So that's it fitted in. And it would make no sense to not have it connected anyway, because as you've seen, the airbag light was on to start with. So by having it disconnected wouldn't be making like a light not come on. So maybe it's just been forgotten. I'm hoping so, for their sake. So it's plugged in now. Cycle the ignition on and off. We'll go back onto the codes. I'll not clear those codes on their own. Obviously everything else will be power related, I guarantee it. Quick erase. So it's going through all the different modules in the car, erasing the codes. As you can see, I'm doubtful this is going to work, but we'll see. The only thing I can think of is he's knew that he didn't have the code machine to cancel the codes off, so he'll have knew if the light's already on, it would stay on, regardless if he plugged it in, that you would need something like this, and he would have probably come to see me to do it, and he probably just didn't get round to it. So there we go, I've cleared the codes. There's no more fault codes coming up, but we'll do a cycle of the ignition, start it up, and just see what happens. It takes a few seconds if it's going to come back on, and it hasn't. So there you go. Strange one that. No light. We'll turn it off. What I'm guessing here is, I know for a fact this seat would have probably been damaged, and he's getting a one from the scrapyard, which he knew very well, and he'll have known for a fact, since the airbag light had been triggered, that airbag lights don't go off themselves. You've got to have them with your software equipment to go off. So he's just thought, well, I'll just stick the new seat in, tuck the wiring plug away, because there's no point in plugging the plug in, because it's not going to make the light go out anyway. It's all I can put it down to. So we'll go now into when I find it, because Ford call it a different name to anybody else for some reason, restraint control module, and just see if it brings a code up. It doesn't mean when we start driving that it ain't going to come back on, but that stopped off, as far as I'm concerned, permanently. Does it bring any codes up? Let's have a look. Obviously, it takes a little bit of time to go through all the various systems to bring the codes, but I'm confident it'll bring nothing up because there's no light coming up, unless there's a pending code. Let's have a look. Yep, no fault codes detected. So, fixed. Strange one, but I suppose, Mark, if you're looking over it, only you'll know the answer to that one, nobody else, but I'm pretty sure what I've said is exactly the reason why. So, we'll go off, back on, start it up. As you can see, the airbag light's on, straight off, and it will come on within 5 seconds, and it ain't come on. We'll move the seat forward a little bit, function it around a bit. No light. There you go. Happy days. Didn't expect that one. So I'm going to go around now, get it on the lift. I'm going to do the tyre pressures, check the oil because I haven't done that yet, and then we'll have a look underneath what's going on under there. Sorry this video is getting into like over 40 minutes now, but a few of you guys said you wanted to see a bit more. I'm giving you a bit more, so I need to know if I'm winning or losing. Anyways, another part of the pre-checks, as I mentioned, I couldn't do that there because it was on a slope, is check the oil, because as part of the MOT test, you need the vehicle to be running for a long period of time, revving it up to do the emissions. So you need to check the oil, which I do on every one of them, which you have to by law, but when you're doing an MOT. And as you can see, nada on the stick, nothing. Well, let's zoom in, let's put it on a dark surface. Not a thing. So that's going to need topped up. So there you go, you see. It's just on the end of that black ball. So I would say that's going to take more than a litre to get it up to the full mark. So there you go, straight up. Those I would walk in. Have you done the emissions test? Yes. Have you checked the oil? Yes. Dip the stick below the minimum. There you go, you get struck off. It's just as bad as passing a car with baldy tyres. It's not. It's part of the rules. You've got to do it. It's got to be that. It's got to be on the minimum or above, as in below the minimum. It's a fail. So that needs done. Like I've mentioned, again, tyre pressures, unless they're seriously low, which they aren't, they just attract the eye. That's all I say. So we'll go around. I'll put the right pressure into these, and we'll top the oil up. This seems to be a common thing on new cars as well. It must be something what's in this new red antifreeze. The caps become very, very tight to unscrew. It just feels as if they're cross-threaded coming off and going on. And what it is, these little rubber seals here, something in this new antifreeze must dry them out. So all you do is get a can of spray grease, spray it on, and I can guarantee they'll walk on with your fingers, never mind having to pull on them. So I've got a litre of oil. That is just slightly below where I don't want it. We're going to top that up, put the oil in, and then we'll recheck. So there we go. It's the oil in, antifreeze topped up, grease on the 2 rubber seals. And like I say, when we look at this now, that, I swear to God, I had to get a pair of pliers to get that started to go. And now, that just goes down to the Titan. Click, off. I can spin it with my fingertips. Before, I had to actually get a towel on it to get it through. So that's perfect now. Down to the right level. Click. Job done. I find that on a lot of cars now. So that's done. Oil's in. As you've seen, so we had no screen wash, low oil, low antifreeze, there's no petrol in it, low tyres, pressure on the tyres. So, dip it and we'll find out where we're at. Just had over a litre in. And let's see. I have to put it on a black surface so we can see. There we go. Just below the maximum. It's exactly where we want it. There we go. Perfect. So, back to what I was saying before. get it up in the air, and we'll find out what's wrong underneath. Or hopefully, not much is wrong. So there we go, we've got it on the lift. One thing I forgot to do earlier, check the horn. So there we go, bring it up. Up we go, 5th floor. And we'll see what we've got going on. Right, so I've got it up. What I can't do, obviously, I'm only using one hand, is you work the side-to-side play with 2 hands on the wheel, and you check for any play on the steering rack or the track rod end. Then up and down for any play on the bearing or bottom ball joint. You spin the wheel. That's obviously just the brake, the rusty disc. Any bearing noises. What we're looking for up here. Condition of the flexi hose, brake pipe, that's just surface corrosion. They're perfectly fine. I'm going to put a bit of my wax oil coating on those. Front spring, check that the bottom coil isn't broken. And what else I'm going to look at is at the top, to see if it's broken, which it isn't. Dust boot's in a little bit of a state, but it's fine for the purposes of the test. And the disc as well, just needs a good drive, and that'll clean up. If you look, there's no real big lip or edge to it. The pads, which I've looked at, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but they are fine. I've checked them through. And then we'll check the tyres, which they're fine. The tread, no perishing on them. Happy days, nice and new. Nothing to worry about there. Same on the other side. Disc, check the spring isn't broken, which it isn't. Up at the top, strut top bearing, obviously you want to be able to turn it. Left and right, them springs look relatively new to me. For any clunking, for the strut top bearings, check for any play. Again, wheel up and down, side to side, spin it. And while we're there, checking the brake pipes, which we'll see better from underneath. And we'll look down at the wishbone arms at the subframe. To the back, we'll be going around. Obviously at this point here, if we're going along, you can use the corrosion assessment tool if you wish. But I'm saying on a car this age, you wouldn't expect it. Not on a Fiesta, you wouldn't. But like I said, that Polo the other day, just give them a light tap underneath. Obviously, you don't want to hit the paintwork. It is just a rubber hammer, like a plasticky rubber hammer. But still, I wouldn't like somebody whacking on at my paint. So you just do it very gently. We'll take it to the back. I'll just get the light. Check for any exposed brake pipes, which is there. Give that a clean off. We'll give that a coating. The shocker's slightly damp, but minimal. I'm going to give that a rub because it's not actually leaking fully. Spin that, perfectly fine. Again, check for any play. We'll check the tyre for any cracking. Obviously, we'll be checking the whole lot for any nails, cracking, cuts, splits. If I did that, this video would go on forever. Same with this one. Again, checking for up and down play, side to side, and on the brake pipes. So we'll take it further up now, and we'll have a good look underneath. Rear springs, have a look at them shockers. But this is all the plus points of doing what you call a pre-check. I know a lot of people will just hide their car in for testing and go, we'll hope for the best. But when you get a list of length of your arm of advisories and failures, especially the advisories, you can actually get most of them off. Like this shocker here, if you look at that, that is perfectly fine. None of it's getting down to the bottom, just a tiny bit at the top. So we'll use some brake cleaner, clean that off, and it just saves having an advisory on the sheet. That one, very, very minimal. We'll give that a clean off. Back springs, nothing broken. Champion, this one, nothing broken. Champion. Again, checking the flexi pipes, brake hoses for corrosion, exhaust for security, perfectly fine, not blown. Bit of surface corrosion, not even part of the test, perfectly fine. Clamps are on nice, heat shields are on correct. I need to check these rear axle bushes. Again, exhaust, perfectly fine for security. The clamps are fine. Subframe for any corrosion, perfectly fine. There's a bit of surface because it's been standing. And there's a little bit of, I think that's just grease or something out of this CV joint, which will give that a rub off, but it's not CV boot grease. Right, that's a check. I've gone around. You know, I showed you the other day about these radiator hose clamps going. Bit of grease on that. It's actually fine. Just every Fiesta that I do now, I'm either going to coat these or replace them. But this car is just as cheap as possible to get it through the test. So, we've gone around. I've coated all the bits of brake pipe. I still need to do the bits further up at the top. Just because this car, since it's stopping within the family, will be coming back to us. So therefore I've done it. I think it's been a while since it's had an oil change, judging by that oil filter. Rinsed whatever this bit of oily stuff was on here, because there's certainly no leaks from the engine, and it's not CV boot grease, so that's rinsed off. Got along those pipes with some protection. Again, just to save us the hassle in the future. Check the rear axle bushes, they're fine. And as you can see, I've rinsed off the shockers, not that there was much on them. Coated the brake pipes. Coated along here. Again, I've done these ones just to keep them protected. Because like I've said, we are going to be the ones working on it. I've been round to all the tyre pressures. All the tyres are fine. So yeah, that's this one. Pretty much ready for test. The corrode on this area here, these. So I've just put a bit of protection on there. So that's it. Swing the camera out. So there we go. Happy days. That's that sorted. Got a few more things just to finish off on it. There is a bit more to it, obviously, which I'll do off camera. But just I wanted to let you know what it's like to do MOT and pre-MOT. I think a lot of people just think it's just chuck the keys in. There you go, mate. Do the test. 15 minutes or something like that and you're done. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of work to an MOT, as well as prepping a car before taking it. Otherwise, you're just going to end up every time we take to test the car, fail it, bring it back, sort it. At least this way, I know the car. The only thing I don't test here is the braking balance and the emissions. But apart from that, 9 times out of 10 they're perfectly fine. So there we go. This one's crept in nearly an hour a day. Apologies. Please leave a comment below if you don't like this, if you think it's too long, too much of a waffle on. I'll not do them anymore. If you have enjoyed it, please leave a comment and let us know. I need feedback. Without feedback, I'm doing this blind. I don't know. Naturally, don't expect an hour-long video every day. I can't do that. It's just today the work's gone to plan, everything's okay, and I thought this would be a nice thing to do, to see a car which has stood for a long time from beginning to end. Obviously just needs to be MOT'd. I'm going to just coat the pipes at the top a little bit more. Job done. So we'll leave this one here today. Please hit the like button, leave a comment, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe. And what I would like, one final request, not for my current viewers, but for anybody who watches this, please just let us know, where did you see my channel? Were you just scrolling through YouTube? Did you type something in and find us? Have you seen us on Facebook? Have you seen us on Instagram? Please, I would love to know this, or even just any of you guys out there, even my current viewers, I suppose. Just let us know where you found us, because I'm quite interested to know where people, new viewers, pick us up from, how you do it, where it's from. And if I've got a bit of an idea with that, it can get us an idea of where I should and shouldn't be kind of not advertising but promoting me channel. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you tomorrow, but please don't expect anything kind of like this tomorrow. I can't do this when it's absolutely heaving, but yeah, catch you tomorrow. Thanks, bye.